Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
Right. After in 2012 when I wrote it and published it, I just put it out there kind of like a bucket list thing. You know what? Hey, I got this idea in my head. Let me just see it through. I put it out there. It's received well, but again, I'm still trapped in that identity of being a basketball player. So anything that I do outside of that, it just doesn't register.
Well, it's just added, right? It's an outlet kind of thing, right?
Exactly. I was an art major. I was a graphic designer. That's what my degree is in. And everything that I've done art-wise has been received well, and I never once took the time to actually reflect on any of it. Yeah. I would put art pieces out. People would commission me to do art pieces, and I would never look at them. As soon as they're done, objectively, that's what they wanted. Here you go. I'm not doing duplicates, because everything I'm putting into it is just the emotion that I'm purging, at the time.
Right. I got you.
Yep.
This is a real process.
It is.
It's a real process. And looking back, right? I mean, it's like, wow, this is cool. Okay. So you said 4th and 5th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you mentioned 2022. So if it's okay, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Is it all right if we do that? Of
course.
You said something about you hadn't felt like normal or 100 or 80% or whatever until 2022. What happened in 2022 that made that take place?
Sure. So I met 2 doctors through one of my business partners. One of them, is a double board certified MD, NASA scientist, MIT grad, all that. And he ended up giving that stuff up so he can be a holistic doctor. He's making way more money doing holistic things, but he invented some technology that's, out of this world. It's 20, 30 years ahead of whatever, is being used today. So I go see him, and he's giving me a full body workup. He is like, hey, you have this, and that wrong with you. Mm-hmm. I can fix these things, but I need to send you to my friend, Dr. Foster Malmed, a chiropractor. Mm-hmm. And he ended up going with me to the appointment.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
That's not normal.
It's not normal, right?
Right.
So we ended up going to, Dr. Foster, and he's doing his test on me. He's like, put these fingers together and turn your head and stick your neck out, your tongue out over here. And he's like, oh yeah, you have all this stuff wrong. He's like, did you get hit by a truck or something? Mm-hmm. I was like, no, just regular playing basketball. Mm-hmm. This is not normal. So he starts working on
the floor, reached up and slapped me upside the head a couple of times. But,
exactly. Right. Yeah, I had a 48-inch vertical. I fell kind of far. Right. Whatever.
Easy.
So I see him once a week for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And my body just completely terraforms. It's just like almost, it's 4 months ahead of the schedule after 5 weeks. So then we, drop it down to 2 weeks at a time, and then one, once a month. And then, 5 months later, and he's just like, you going to play again, right? I'm like, well, no, I'm 32 at this point. Like, kind of old, it's
window might be closed,
but I appreciate
I
appreciate the confidence, but now I'm old at this point.
Yeah.
So I get healthy. Up until that point, I started seeing these gentlemen, I was at a pain level about 7 on a daily basis out of 10 for the entire time since surgery. And I just felt, hey, that's normal life now.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So you go from 7 out of 10 to what?
Most days I'm about a 3. I'm still running about a 3, but it's still manageable, you know? 7
Awesome.
out of 3. Yeah, you know?
That's a big jump.
It is. I might have a bad day here or there, you know, or depending on if I'm, you know, just really overexerting myself or something like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's manageable. And, you know, I was, you know, mentioning the football thing. Um, Dr. Foster is like, you have severe limb weakness in your arms because of the neck before. And I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done 4 pounds, you know?
Oh, I lost you. You
It's
froze for a
what
second.
are you
Say it
gonna
again.
do? So uh, yeah, yeah. He told me I had severe limb weakness, and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have bench pressed 400 pounds then, huh? Like, what are you gonna do?
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So now, how do you feel today?
I feel great. I feel great. You know, I'm working out. I do that just to keep, you know, that pain level at bay. You know,
Yeah.
keeping my, you know, back muscles tight. You know, spine strong, all that good stuff. You know, I can really manage it and almost feel, you know, there's nothing wrong at this point.
Wow, that's incredible. That is just incredible. Okay. So let me ask you a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
So growing up, what was your favorite thing about growing up once you guys came back to the US, right? What was your favorite thing about growing up here?
Um, Growing up here, it was nice to see family, to be around family. You know, that extended family that you know you're really close to, but you know they don't really have the means of just coming overseas and being able
Right.
to spend, you know, all the time with you. So that was the best thing. However, I did love and still miss, you know, living in Greece, especially. That's, you know, that's where my foundation is essentially.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed being around family.
Okay. So what was your favorite thing about growing up in Greece?
It was the culture, you know. It was, you know, being in Greece is not like anything anywhere else in the world. Like, you know, I'm sure there's, you know, great places, wonderful sights to see, but you know, kind of what inspired, you know, what I do now is, you know, being in Athens and anywhere you go, you can look straight up and see the Parthenon on top of the Acropolis, you know, or be walking down the street and on the side rail here there's a 3,000-year-old village just encased in glass, or you know, just go past the Temple of Zeus. You know, for I mean, for a while there, you know, I thought that, you know, the Greek gods were, you know, the word gods. You
Mhm.
know, it's just you're surrounded by so much history. You know, the culture, the sense of, you know, just being, you know, Greek with a lot of European countries. You know, it's, you know, they have a sense and an exuberance of, you know, who they are, and that's, you know, it's, you gotta love it.
Gotcha. So how did that, it sounds like Greece inspired the Legacy series. Am I
A
wrong?
lot of it did. A lot of it did. You
Okay.
know,
So how does your time in Greece, right? The experience that you had, and let's be honest, you kind of have a spring in your step mentally when you talk about Greece.
Mhm.
Okay. You
Yeah.
kind of light up a little. I mean, you light up when you talk about your family too, and when you talk about your dad, but you have a love for Greece. You can see it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Talk about how that became the inspiration for Legacy, and talk about what made you decide, because I know you're sort of explaining this like it's just something that I did, right?
Yep. Yep.
But the decision to write a book is a big deal.
Yep.
It is a major life, it's a commitment, right?
Yes, sir.
It's a
Yep.
dedication. I mean, there's a lot to this. So
Yes.
talk us through that for a second.
Sure, sure. So I think the easiest way to answer that would be to go back to that period right after having surgery.
Yeah.
So after surgery, you know, we were talking about how I was lost, you know, all that, you know, good stuff. Um, for a month, for a month straight, I had the same reoccurring dream, which, being a visual person, you know, maybe my dreams are just a little bit more, you know, lucid or whatever. than the regular person, but I saw this same exact dream verbatim every night for a month straight, and it was the first book. So I
Really?
yeah, yeah.
That's
So I
so cool. Okay.
Yep. So I take the time and just figure, you know what, I'm just going to jot down what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
One page turns into three, three turns into 12. And at that point, it's like, wow, 12 pages is, and then all of a sudden, I got an entire book here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is awesome. You know, this
Yeah.
is, this is everything that I'm thinking, I, I feel like I'll let people read this. And again, artists, I don't reflect on things,
Yeah.
especially the art that I do. So writing the book was a different medium for me.
Yeah.
So after I write it, this is the first time I'm actually reflecting on the feelings that I'm purging, for my artwork.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is actually a pretty good story. So publish it, let people read it.
So
And
was it cathartic?
it was cathartic in a sense. It was a cathartic in a sense. But I still, again, just because at this point, again, still tied to basketball,
Yeah.
even though I'm having that, open door moment where it's about to let me into, the future,
Yeah.
I still don't do anything with it. I
Yeah.
don't do any promotion for it. So really, I didn't start promoting the book until 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Um, so the story has a lot of the characters are relatable because there are a lot of aspects of myself.
Yeah.
And being that it takes place as a modern day retelling of the Third Civil War, and Spartacus, the protagonist, is the reincarnated descendant of Spartacus.
Right.
There's a lot of elements of Roman mythology, Greek mythology,
Yeah.
all the things that I grew up seeing.
Yeah.
You and then it tells a story weaving itself through history, taking where fact ends and fiction begins.
Right.
And now we're tying in all types of different cultures. We're tying, Norse mythology, Japanese, you name it, it's represented in this book and it's all celebrated.
Yeah.
My experiences with these other cultures, it's all a celebration. It's, tremendous people, tremendous food, lives, whatever they are, they love it. And that's what I tried to do with this book.
Yeah. Wow, that is so cool. I love this stuff, right? I know you can't tell, but I love how you evolve, right? Sort of step by step, how you evolve into this, and this becomes like you're sorting through and working through a lot of emotion at that point, right? At that moment in your life. And yet your brain is like, okay, we're going to write a book.
Yep. Yep.
You with me? Like
Yep.
you're going to dream this dream. We're writing this thing,
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
It's like your mind is counteracting a lot of what you're feeling, right?
Yes.
And sort of giving you that outlet so that you have something you can pour into.
Yes.
Because right now you can't pour into anything else because you're literally disabled, right? You're trying to recover from surgery, all that kind of thing. Man, this is really cool. So you write the first one.
Yes.
What makes you write the second one? And I know you said you have 5 that you've written, right? So
Yes.
So what makes you write the second one? And then the third one, I guess, you said is coming out April 1st, right?
So I actually write. So this is a great thing. So I actually write from a flow state. So 3 months after I released the first book, I hear something that triggers me, that triggers an idea. And just from a simple, it could be anything that could trigger me. The simple idea of perhaps a plot comes into my head and I start writing the second book.
Wow.
So as soon as I finish the second book, I start writing the third book because I hear something else. And now this is a 3-month span. I write 2 books.
Yeah.
Second and third books. In 3 months, I write second and third books. And I don't do anything with these. And then fast forward to COVID, is when I write books 4 and 5. So the first 3 books were really supposed to be the war. It's supposed to be the retelling of the Third Servile War and the Spartacus story.
Right.
And book 3 was originally supposed to be the end. Well, then I get the idea for book 4 and then a book 5. And now I'm in the process, I'm 4,000 words or so into book 6 and 6,000 or so into book 7.
Wow. I love this, man. This is so cool. So here's what's cool about this from my standpoint, right? So you grow up watching your dad compete every day.
Yes. Yep.
You grow up admiring him, right? You grow up with what, sort of, for lack of a better term, wanting to be him.
Yep.
Right? And you're on your way to go do that. Okay. And then basically the rug, the metaphorical rug gets pulled out from under you, and you're like, right? And then all of a sudden, from the time you had in Greece, all of a sudden this vision comes to you and this dream comes, right? And your mind is saying, because here's the thing, the mind of a champion fascinates me. It's exactly what you are. You're an absolute champion. Okay.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
You're just a champion. It's the way you think. It's the way you attack everything that you do. Right. You just, I mean, for you describing it, it's like, oh, it's, right.
Yeah.
For the rest of us, it's like, no. Right. Because we get the opportunity to observe, right? We get the opportunity, and thanks to you and thanks to what we're doing today, we get an opportunity to kind of come along for the ride. And it's just really, this is very cool stuff. So let me ask you this.
Yes.
Growing up, who was the most influential person to you?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I would probably say my dad. So my dad is 7 foot tall. He's literally larger than life. And, growing up and, seeing him playing in these massive arenas and him being, a giant, a titan amongst men,
Yeah.
it's like, wow. It's look at this person here. This is something to aspire to be. He, is from West Philadelphia, not the best upbringing, and everything that he was able to accomplish, coming from there to being the successful person that he is, it's just a blueprint. It's like I have a lot of him in me.
Yeah.
I'm the run of the family. I'm like 6'7", 6'8", 270, and I'm the run of the family. My brother's 6'9",
So you were born into a human forest, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I was just a little tree, redwoods.
I love this, man. This is so cool. I'm the runt. I love that. At 6'7", right?
Yep.
So I love the fact that you emulate your dad the way you do. I mean, this is such a cool thing, and I hope he gets to listen to this episode, because I know he's already proud of you, but man, this'll get him in the fields. I got news for you, right? I'm a dad too, right? So and full disclosure, my son's 6'5", wears a size 14 men's shoe, and eats every 15 minutes, right? He was the MVP of his basketball team in high school his junior and senior year. Kid's a stud.
Right.
Absolute stud. He's a beast. Right. He's a beast, but he's a stud.
Funny thing, people tell me that somebody's tall at 6'1". I'm like, are they?
Yeah, not really.
Like, 6'4" is like the cutoff for tall.
That's it. The human forest thing came from me growing up. I have cousins that are all taller than me. And so,
oh, wow.
People would look at me and go, oh, you're 6'3", you're really tall, I'm like, I don't think so. Not by comparison, I'm not,
My dad's brother's actually taller than him too. He's about an inch taller than him. So
I got a cousin that's 6'8", and it's like, nice. They block out the sun. You know what I mean? It's like, dude. So
we got to duck our heads. We're gonna.
It's crazy. All right, so you've written 1, you've written 2, and published, right? 3's coming out. So 3's coming out, and then you've got 4, 5, 6, and 7 that you're currently working on. So you've got quite a series going.
Yes.
Tell us about 3. So we got 1, we got 2, 3's getting ready to come out. Tell us what people can look forward to.
So 3 is essentially the war. So
Okay.
if you think about the Spartacus story, if people are familiar with it, Spartacus was a Thracian gentleman who was captured into slavery by the Romans, ends up becoming the most famous gladiator in history,
Yeah.
and then escapes and amasses a slave rebellion of about 100,000 slaves that he frees along his way, trying to just escape, Roman command.
Mhm.
Uh, it all boils up to the Third Servile War, where the slave army fights the Romans. They were betrayed by some pirates, and eventually, Rome wins. But had the slave army been successful, essentially entire world and future would have looked different.
Yeah.
Rome being the massive empire that it was, had it fallen, things would have took the war will look completely different than it is now.
Gotcha.
So book 3 is essentially that war. We segmented out books 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Book 1 is our introduction to our protagonist, our backstory, kind of like that Stan Lee, introduction to your hero.
Yeah.
Book 2 is where everything starts coming to a head, the boiling point, and then book 3 is you get slaves, you get captured, and then the entire back half of the book is one long scene, one long war scene from 8 different points of view.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah, so it's and I've been told that everything that people read of mine is like watching a movie. It's the closest thing that they can get to watching a movie, which is again my authentic, writing style. When I set out, I was looking at the George R.R. Martins, the James Pattersons, and trying to
Right.
see what their writing style is, and I could not get it down.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna do this, let me just do it as authentically as possible. For me, it's more about telling the story than trying to fit this, traditional structure. I'm
Yeah.
not that guy. I'm an artist by trade, so I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it, and this is gonna be a different medium for me. So everything that I write is very visual.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. It's your visual nature, right? Because you saw book
I see
1
everything.
before you ever, you know what I'm saying? So here's the $64,000 question. And by the way, if you cannot answer this, I totally get it. But you do know that I have to ask this. Okay.
Let's do it.
You've known me for less than an hour, and you know how ornery I am. Okay.
Of course.
So here's the question. When's the movie coming out?
That's a great question. So I actually just finished the script for the first short film that we're doing yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
Yeah,
so we're going to be doing a series of short films. And I just finished the script for the first one. And so the holistic doctor I was mentioning actually has a vast network of people that he actually has been gracious enough to open up to me. He reads all my stuff. He loves it. He's a fan too. And he's actually a strategic advisor for me and my business partners. We are developing an app and things like that.
Yeah.
But we're in the process now of putting the package together for the first movie. We're going to try to shoot a little bit of money at all, and then the whole idea of this is to get a feature out of this out of these short films. So the script is done for 1, and actually the script is done for 1 and 2.
I got you. So you're doing a short film.
Yes.
That you're wanting to lead into a feature film, like
yes,
a full-length Hollywood.
Full-length Hollywood series of movies. We don't have as many as the Fast and Furious. We can't be all Vin Diesels.
Yeah.
But there's at least seven or 8 movies we can get out of this.
I love it. This is really cool. This is so cool. Okay, I can't wait to see the movie. So the book comes out. Now this is Legacy.
Resurrection is
Resurrection, right? So number 3 of the series comes out April 1st.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to put a link to the book on your description, right? On the episode description for the podcast. And then I want to have you back to talk about,
I'd love to.
and talk about 5 and 6, right? And when you're ready to release the short film, let's have you come back and we'll promote that too. Is that cool?
Hey, as much as you want me on here, I'll be a co-host, whatever you want.
I love it, buddy. I love it. Yeah, come on, let's go.
Let's do it.
It'd be awesome. J Leonard Costner, thank you so much for being on
Mike,
the Mike Litton Experience. This has been a lot of fun. I really,
I appreciate you having me.
I have thoroughly enjoyed getting your life story on tape. This has been a lot of fun. So thanks again for playing along. I appreciate you, buddy. We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.